for the ultimate source of inspiration, knowledge, and entertainment, look no further. Network Kingdom is a unique platform that brings together experts from various industries. Through networking and collaboration, we create inspiring conversations that educate, entertain, and motivate our listeners. Whether you're a business professional, an entrepreneur, or simply someone looking to grow their knowledge base.
Okay, my people, thank you for joining me again today. And I have with me this amazing young man. His name is Guy. Hi, Guy. Nice to have you on today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Amu. And it's good to be here as well.
Awesome. So I'm sure my guests would really want to know who Guy is.
My wife and I are licensed massage therapists. Um, Massage therapy is the last thing in the world that I would ever do, the best thing in the world that I have ever done.
Wow,
And
take
I
that
just,
again.
yeah,
Last thing in the world you'd ever do, and the best thing you have ever done.
as it relates to career focus, absolutely. If
Wow.
I would have known at 19 what I learned at the young age of 55, um, I would have made other choices a long time ago. But I had no clue until I got into my 50s that I even had an interest down this way. And that's part of what I want to share with you today is the journey of becoming licensed massage therapist here in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Wow, amazing. And I mean, that's really strange. In my head, I love massages, but I mean, it's just about relaxing. I'd never had this huge thought about it. As far as I was concerned, it was walk into a spa, get a massage to relax, and that's it. Is there any other thing to it?
So for me, I don't like massage. Um, I love giving massage, but I really don't want to get a massage, which is yet another
Wow.
reason why I would never think myself to be a massage therapist.
Wow.
So, but if we go back to, I think it was 2018, um, we became clear that it was time for, in fact, the ministry leaders came forward and basically said, we think it's time that you guys should find another place, either in April or May. Well, the problem with that is this ministry had absorbed all our funds. We had nothing to go anywhere on. We didn't have any options. And yet we were having to come up with one. Well, people had told my wife that she should be a massage therapist all through her life, and
Oh, wow.
she'd never done it because she has dyslexia, and so
Oh,
she didn't think she could pass the classes or the national NBLEX exams, and so she never went this route. Well, when it became clear that we needed to make an adjustment, we started praying about it, and we decided to look into massage therapy school for her. And we found a school in Hermosa that was tied to our church. It's the only school that's actually tied to our church. And we called up, and they were happy. They'd never had two classes in 1 year. They were doing it this year. They've never done that way again. And they were starting their class in May. Now, when
wow.
was it that we were supposed to move?
May.
April or May,
Yeah.
exactly. And they had never done it that way before. So, all right, we're going to come to your school. Well, I called them up the next day and I said, there's no way we're coming to your school. I think you're probably going to want us to pay for her education. And we have no money. So we're not coming. Well, the response back was pray about it and just see what God does. A couple days later, we got a call from a dear friend. They wanted us to come over for dinner. We came over for dinner and they sat us down and said, "We understand what's happened with that ministry. We want to help. We want to pay for Irene's schooling."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So we got on the line back with the school for massage, and we said, "All right, we're going to come to school so Irene," notice how I'm always saying Irene,
Yes,
"could become a massage therapist."
absolutely.
Al came back and he said, "What if we were to give you this deal?" And it was an amazing deal. "And you both become a massage therapist." I said, wait. I'm into soft sciences, psychology, communication, that sort of thing. Uh, Anatomy, pathology, kinesiology, no thank youology. I don't want the hard sciences. And yet, it was a really good deal. So we went to the donors of who was helping Irene, and we presented it to them, and they agreed. So now we were both going to school. We moved from St. Mary's, Idaho to Hermosa, South Dakota to go to school. When on campus, the science teacher pulled me aside and he said, "I'm really concerned about your wife." And I said, "Why are you concerned about my wife, Galen?" And he said, "Because she has dyslexia. I'm not sure she can pass my classes or my tests." And I said, "Galen, she absolutely does have dyslexia, but she's also got a purpose. She's also
Absolutely.
got a passion. She's also got a pursuit. If there's one person in your class that you do not have any problem with, it's my wife. But,
Wow.
but I will tell you absolutely, you have a problem in your class. I hadn't been in his classes yet. I know that he has a problem in the class." He said, "I have a problem in my class?" I said, "Absolutely. I'll guarantee it 100%. I said, "Well, then what's my problem?" I said, "You're looking at it. Because unlike my wife that doesn't that has a purpose, the passion, and the pursuit, I don't. I do not want to know anything about hard sciences. I do not care anything about hard sciences. And you're going to help me pass your classes and your tests. I just want to wish you good luck as we get going." Well, I started to get into anatomy and I fell in love.
Wow.
I just did not realize how amazing these bodies that God has given us are. They're
Wow.
absolutely amazing and intricately. Just to, it just blows my mind every time I think about it. And I got to the point of realizing that I had made the wrong choice my entire career.
Wow.
Because had I known, and I mentioned this earlier, but not on recording, but had I known at 19 what I learned at 55, I would have become a massage therapist and gone in this direction much, much sooner in life. But I had no clue, none whatsoever. God did, I didn't.
Hmm.
So, about halfway through our schooling, God speaks to me and he says, "Look for work." Well, this is a point where I know I need to help God out a little bit because he doesn't necessarily understand how things work down. And I advised him, God, typically speaking, a person is not going to hire another person in any category that's only halfway graduated, let alone a massage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get through my education first. To which God responded, look for work. So I went out onto Indeed.com and I found a site out there that would look for clients for you, and then you would pay them based on the clients that they send you.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea. I called them up. We hit it off right out of the gate. It was all beautiful right out of the gate until he asked one question. He asked me where my office was.
Ooh.
Now I'm a student, and if you remember earlier in this conversation, I'm not just a student. I'm a broke student.
Exactly. The
You know,
office wasn't even,
what's that?
I said you hadn't even thought of the office.
Yep, yep. So the question is, in your travels, now I know I know you come from Nigeria. I know you're currently in the United States and traveling around. How many offices in your experience around the world have you found that are available for zero monthly?
None.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much right.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so when he said, and so I said, I don't have an office and I don't have money for an office. And he said, well, if you don't have an office, we can't work together. I said, okay, send me your paperwork. I'll have an office in 2 weeks. Now, remember, I'm still broke.
And
My
studying.
wife's in the background at this point, kind of just going, what do you mean? You can't have an office in 2 weeks. You have no money for an office. Got off the phone and I turned to God and I said, all right, you called me here to South Dakota, a place I would never choose to live. You called me into a trade I would never choose to do. I just stepped into it. Fix it. And we went to a chair massage outing about an hour and a half away from here in a flat state. And we were doing massage there. There was a lady there that wanted to talk about water. I didn't want to talk about water. I wanted to talk about massage. She wanted to talk about water. I called her the crazy water lady. But she wanted to talk about water. I want to talk about massage. Then I got an idea. I asked her for the business card. I figured that if she gave me her business card, she would feel that she's won and she'd leave me alone. It worked until I got home. I'm going through some paperwork and whatnot, and her business card surfaces. And that's when God speaks again. And God says, call her. Well, I come from the Pacific Northwest. I like my mountains. Shadron, Nebraska, where she was, is a flat.
Flat. Mm-hmm.
Flat. I don't do flat.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kindly, gently let God know, I don't need to call her. To which he said, call her. All right, I pick up the phone and I get her on the line and whatnot. Guess what the crazy water lady wanted to talk about?
Water.
Water. She wanted to talk about water. I didn't want to talk about water. I wanted to talk about my anatomy test that I needed to be passed. She wanted to talk about water. Now I'm complaining to God saying, look, I've got to study. I don't need to talk about water. And then she mentioned that she had a friends that had a water store in Rapid City, South Dakota. Suddenly, somebody wants to talk about water. Guess who?
You.
So we get together with the friends and whatnot, and we explain the situation, and we decide we're going to work together. And they said, because we understand your situation, for the first 6 months, you don't owe any rent. unless you start doing really good. Then you'll start paying rent.
Wow.
That's how God works. That's how God works. Now, when we first got started, we called our bank to see if we had any possibility of a loan, which we knew we didn't. But if we had any possibility of a loan, and they said we did, $5,000. This
Wow.
this would pay for tables. This would pay for the supplies we need, the sheets we need, get business cards. That would take care of everything. So we proceeded to step out in faith of the bank and get the supplies we needed using our credit cards, knowing that we would pay the credit cards back once we got the money from the bank. When we got the business cards, my wife went around to all chiropractors, physical therapists, body workers, and gave business cards out so that we would get leads from them. Guess how many leads we got from them?
50, 100?
Can you see that number right there?
0.
0. We
No,
got
you're
0
kidding.
from that effort. Not only that, but we're still waiting for the bank to get us our money. So we called them back up, and it's at that point that we heard the word, "Oops, we don't have a loan for you."
Wow.
Great. We had just spent up our credit cards thinking we'd pay them back, and that loan's not coming.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
that pushed us into bankruptcy. And so I actually had a electric Ford C-Max car at that point, a very nice car. One of the cars that when we drove onto the campus, everybody would turn their head and go, "Ooh, that kind of car." And as we're going into the bankruptcy attorney's parking lot, I asked God, this car had been working perfectly. I asked God, "God, do you want this car to be on that bankruptcy? If so, show me a sign." Immediately, the car stopped working. We're in middle of the parking lot. We're not parked. We're in mid, and we can't. I tried turning the car on. It won't turn on. There's nothing that will happen to turn it on. So, okay, God, that's a good sign, but I need to park the car now. I can't on my own effort. So would you turn this car back on, please? I pushed the button, car started. We parked the car, went up to the bankruptcy court and whatnot, signed the papers. And on the way out, a friend of ours said, "I had this car. It's nothing much, but it might get you around for a little while." The car that they had multiple fractures in the windshield up front. The ceiling stuff and whatnot would come off and flake in our hair, which is not a big problem for me, but for my wife, it was.
Yeah.
The door handles, you to keep them, the car was falling apart. And if you go down the road with it, pretty much people can probably hear you about 3 miles away. So instead of the ooh and ah, now it's the and oh.
Whoa. You were still getting attention anyway.
There you go. There you go. We called that our miracle car because it was a miracle that it got anywhere. But it got as far as it needed to all the time that we were going through school. A friend of ours found a car right before he had been trying to find us all sorts of other cars, but found us a car. And it was a car I had turned him down on multiple other occasions. This one was perfect. Found us a car. We decided to go ahead and take that car. The very next week after we got the car, the miracle car wouldn't work anymore.
Wow.
That's just been the way of the process of life. Now, as I mentioned we got business cards when we first started.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 8 months in, the people that we were working with at the water store wanted to retire and they wanted us to take over the store, which would be fine if we felt God called us to, but we didn't. And so we asked them for 30 days. The very next week, we had gotten 0 leads from Irene's efforts of going around and giving out business cards. The very next week, we get a phone call. We're looking for a massage therapist. Sorry, can't help you. Wait, what do you mean you can't help us? Well,
Yeah.
my wife and I are both massage therapists. So if you were looking for a massage therapist, then we probably could help you. But you're only looking for a massage therapist. We can't help you. We have 2 rooms. Well, then we have a conversation. We decided to get together and have a good conversation, and it went beautiful. Perfect. Everything good. They asked, okay, draw up an email that shows everything you need in order to move in. And we will and we'll respond to that email. Did
Wow.
exactly that. Got a response back almost immediately. Every point that we had put together in that email was 100% no.
Wow.
I said, well, I guess we're not staying at the water store and we're not going to the chiropractic clinic. Why don't we open our own clinic? So we started looking around and looking for different options and possibilities. And we found one. It was a nice clinic and whatnot. The landlord said, drop an email of everything you would need to move in. Gee, I heard this before, didn't I? Drop an email of everything you need to move in, and we'll just roll it into your rent. And we did exactly.
Wow.
To which we got an email back saying, I was talking basic.
Wow.
Well, that pretty much shut that door. And I turned to God. I said, God, you brought us into a trade that I would never do in a place where I would never do it. We're not staying at the water store. We're not going to the chiropractic, and we're not opening our own clinic.
What am I supposed to do?
We need a place to practice. Exactly. Fix it. Well, God responded by saying, send the same exact email to the chiropractor that you sent the week before.
Wow.
And I said, God, there's no possibility that somebody that is 100% denied all our requests before is suddenly going to change their mind. So you're wasting your time and mine instead of figuring out what's going to happen here. To which he said, send the exact same email back to the chiropractor. So I did. 1 week earlier, we had been told no to every single point. So 1 week later, you're not going to hear anything else.
Exactly.
Then we got our email back. 1 week later, 100% of everything was yes.
Wow.
Now it was everything was yes.
My goodness.
That is just been the way through that God has led us all the way along. It's been amazing. We were told by our massage trainers not to come to Rapid and open up a shop here because we would fail. How did they know that we would fail? Because others had tried and failed.
Mm-hmm.
So based on the track record of others, it was only obvious that wasn't going to work.
Absolutely.
Today, God has taken us to the top of massage therapists. In 5 years, he's taken us to the top of everyone else.
Wow.
And our leading competitor has like 150, 146 or something like 64 uh, Google reviews and a 4.6 rating. We have over 400 Google reviews and a
Wow.
4.9 rating.
In how many years?
5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. 5 years come November. So it's not even been 5 years yet. But to basically start with nothing, go with nothing, and then grow from where there to where we are today, we're actually looking at the possibility of selling our business here in Rapid City and moving to Kansas. Our business easily is worth worth between 300,000 and 500,000, somewhere in that ballpark.
Wow.
That's not what we had yesterday, but that
No.
is what we've been blessed with, and it's just been an amazing journey all the way along.
It's been a truly, truly transformational session. Honestly, I have learned a lot. And as a Christian, we often talk about trusting
Mm.
and believing even in things you can't see. But like I always say to people, these things are easier said than done. We always say, but when we're faced with those challenges, it really is not as easy to follow. So personally, what I've tried to do is look for um, stories or incidences or um, things that I can remember or feed from when I'm at those points where my faith is being tested. In this journey of success, transformation, challenges, um, this I would call it a 5-year journey to where you are today. Anyone who's listening, because think about it, 5 years ago, if you were listening to this, depending on where you are in your on your journey, you would say things like, "Oh, he's making it sound easy," or "He doesn't understand my situation. My situation is different. His own case is different." We always have an excuse. So, for anyone like that who is listening now and wants to tap from your strength, your faith, and all that, what would you say to that person who is at crossroads, confused, doesn't even know where the next meal is going to come from, doesn't know what to do? What would you say to that person?
Well, I would go back to 2013, because 2013 a similar situation took place, and within that situation I was relying much more on Guyism than I was on following God. And
So,
Guyism,
so you were relying on yourself and
exactly.
what you thought you knew,
Yeah.
and your several certificates and your knowledge and your expertise. That's what you were relying on instead of relying on God.
Yeah. And you know where it got me?
Nowhere.
Got me flat on my face.
Yeah.
It got me flat on my face. In fact, I became extremely suicidally depressed.
Wow.
And God taught me during that entire time how much it is so important to walk forward in faith and learn to follow Him despite the circumstances, despite what everything looks like. I can't say it's easy. Looking back, it might sound like a fun, easy story, but I had my knees shaking at times, and just knowing I had to move forward. I had people coming and saying, this is never going to work. I said, you're right, other than God.
Yeah.
And so I have learned, because of where I was back then, that I have a choice. I can follow the road according to Guy, or the road according to God. The road according to Guy
Mm.
really didn't get me very far.
Yeah.
The road according to God has opened up so much in a world where we've got what, a pandemic that went through. We've got inflation going on. We've got all sorts of insanity and
Absolutely.
craziness going on. And yet God can. So, yes, it's not easy to necessarily put our faith into motion. But I will absolutely guarantee this to anyone, anywhere. As you put your faith into motion, God moves. Now, he's going to move differently for every single individual,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
he does move. And God's movements are never half-hearted, are never against the person, are never going to cause us to crumble. He wants to do whatever he can do to build us up, not tear us down.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been um, an extremely powerful session. Honestly, I'm going to go back and listen to it even before I share. So, to my viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. It was filled with wisdom and, nuggets that came from everywhere. Guy, before we leave, is there anything you want to say to our listeners?
Sure. If you happen to be in Rapid City, South Dakota, look us up, gracefultouch.org. Or if you happen to be in the United States, we have a branded product line of over 50 different products, all natural, certified organic, plant-based, gracefultouchproducts.org.
Wow,
And if
amazing.
you are one more, if you don't mind, one the if you happen to be on Instagram, that's my main platform that I'm building right now. I'm also on TikTok. I'm also on Facebook, but I like Instagram mostly. You can look me up there as Pain Relief, the number 4, the letter U, Pain Relief for you.
For you.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, thank you so much. I'm going to check out the products. I love having products for well-being and self-care. Thank you guys. Make sure you check out those websites and we'll add them in the comment section as well. Take care.
You've been listening to Network Kingdom with Omo Obulor. Remember, if you cannot see where you're going, ask someone who has been there before.